All right, welcome everybody to a daylight savings time edition of Who's Your Band. We're doing this an hour earlier, and believe me, it's taking a toll.
It's horrible when you get home from a gig and you were in the same area as me last night. You get home from a gig and you can't just go right to bed. So like I put Saturday Night Live on and I'm watching it and it says 1:59 and then boom 3 o'clock. I'm like, you fucking
no,
prick.
I don't like when it goes to 3 o'clock. Anyway,
Oh,
guys, that was
I'm
Sean
laughing. I
Morton,
drove from Boston, and you guys are complaining.
and that's Mark Riccadonna.
This is gonna be a clusterfuck and the
Be a
greatest
fun
episode
show,
ever today.
everyone. And it's a special show because what we're doing today is we are going to be doing, I think, the impossible. We're going to be trying to count down the top 10 Bruce Springsteen songs. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our lists. We have a bunch of lists from listeners. So thank you guys for sending those in during the week. And we're going to kick things off with Mark Riccadonna giving us his top 10 Springsteen songs. So if you're not sure who Mark Riccadonna is, okay, Mark is a great comedian, but let me tell you something. He knows his shit when it comes to music. You can count on one hand the respect I have for comedians that can speak music. Mark is easily at the top of that list.
It's the same as I was with sports, though. Like, I'm really into it, but if you want facts and like you're going to go into batting averages and who played bass in 1982, I'm out. Like, I'm not like I don't know a ton of minutia of it, but I love music. I respect musicians, and because of our job of telling dick and fart jokes, we seem to get to meet our heroes pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best part of our job. I think is the stuff we get to see because we tell dick jokes.
It's very true.
It's definitely a perk. All right, Mark, kick us off. Start with number 10 and work your way up. Here we go.
So,
top 10 Springsteen songs. This is going to be almost an impossible task.
Yeah, this was like the Sophie's Choice of comedy, like of music. I mean, it was ridiculous I was beating my head against the wall. I do have an honorable mention if I can bring those up first.
Of course.
A lot of my choices might not be necessarily his best songs, but they're things that were personal to me. So that's what made me do a lot of my choices.
I'm glad you said that. We'll explain that a little
that's part of it. Listen, this is completely subjective. Everyone, people who have something like Dancing in the Dark, I'm guaranteeing none of us are going to have that in our top 10.
I don't.
Yeah. So, good.
I do have a situation that's like the Dancing in the Dark video. My number one honorable mention is 1995's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opening when he did Darkness on the Edge of Town, and my cousin Mike Underwood stormed the stage and hugged Bruce on camera live. And his security dragged him off. And I guess Bruce said when they grabbed him, because my cousin had real long hair and he's really skinny, he goes, "Let the girl sing." As a 15-year-old Mark Riccadonna sitting at home watching this on television being televised, and then all of a sudden seeing my cousin Mike, who lives, no lie, 150 yards to the right of us, storming the stage during Bruce Springsteen.
That's fucking amazing.
And then like CNN did a whole thing about when fans attack and all this stuff, and his picture was plastered everywhere.
And they probably showed that broad who was always running onto the baseball fields who had the gigantic tits in like the 80s and 90s.
Morgana. Her? Yes, Morgana.
Yeah, she'd run and her fucking tits would hit her head while she was running.
Disproportionate stupid tits.
So that's my first honorable mention. My second honorable mention is when he played with the Wallflowers in 90, I believe it was 99 on the MTV Music Awards.
One Headlight.
They sang One Headlight together. Bruce Springsteen was a huge part of my growing up, my teenage years. And the fact that the guy, Jake Dillon, who had to Bob Dylan's son, but he also was like the number one musician that year. He had the number one song at the time. And Springsteen kind of disappeared. And all of a sudden, Bruce Springsteen's on stage with Jacob Dylan singing a song that was like a really big hit at the time. I thought that was like a pretty cool moment. And that
It's
was back when I
a
used
band that I thought was going to do a lot more. The Wallflowers.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That song, One Headlight and 10th Avenue Heartache. Both those songs I thought were almost written in the style of a Springsteen song.
Huge.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, Springsteen was a huge Dylan fan, and then Jacob Dylan was a huge Bruce fan. So it was kind of like a big full circle moment.
So it comes full circle.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I also have Sam and Dave's Hold On, I'm Coming.
Okay.
They played that live, and Bruce, I think, was playing the Dave part and the Sam and Dave part. I don't remember which one he filled in for, but it was really cool to see him singing with the original artist.
Have you heard the last album that he did where there was all the 60s and 70s soul covers?
Yes.
Great record.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody have Night Shift on their list?
I don't like that song from that album. I'm not a fan.
The one song.
Love the movie. Not a fan of the song.
Oh, the movie's awesome. Tuna fish and mayonnaise in the same can. I'm an idea man.
So then my last of the honorable mention was, and it's not even that great of a cover of it, but just the fact of the respect that both of these people had for each other and the respect I have for both of their music, not that they care, was when Bruce Springsteen did London Calling for Joel Strummer's birthday. I thought it's not even a great cover of it, but the idea of it was mind-blowing to me. That it was like, oh my God, Joel Strummer's like the Bruce Springsteen of punk rock. But now we'll get to the real top 10. The real top 10.
The Mark Riccadonna top 10.
This is the Riccadonna top 10. Number 10, I know it's famous for a reason, but I have a personal reason of why it is, but it's probably one of his most famous songs is Glory Days.
Okay.
Glory Days. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, which is the home of Glory Days. My wife laughs. The first time she came home to meet my parents and we drove to Ohio, we went to a bar and some guy came over to me and started talking to me about my senior year, our football team, and asking me all these questions about things that happened on the field on a certain game. And then he walked away and Angie goes, "Do you know him?" And I go, "No, I have no idea who that guy was." I go, do you ever see the music video for Glory Days?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later on, Mark.
You're in that music video right now.
I coached football on that field.
No way.
Yeah, no, that's in that's Garland, I think.
Wow.
Garland or Garfield, New Jersey.
Garfield.
Yeah, it's in Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
Garfield, New Jersey. So Glory Days, I mean, obviously it's a great song. It was overplayed for a very long time, but overplayed for a reason. It's a great song. And
most of the stuff from Born in the USA record is overplayed, and it's like that big crossover from when he went from like the songwriter to like a pop star. So a lot of like purists really hate a lot of that stuff from that record, but it's to this day my favorite Bruce record.
Me too. It's when Springsteen went electric.
Yeah.
I say it's not even in my top 5.
Really?
Yes.
Look at, wow. Somebody likes B-sides.
Yeah. Welcome to my fucking hell every Sunday.
Who are you, D. Schneider? I hate it.
Schneider. You Schneider.
All right, nerd.
Continue with this lesson.
Number 9, another one off of that album, No Surrender. Love that song.
Not a bad song.
It's the lyrics are so great. It really it's like a bonding song. You listen to it, you're ready to go to war. Number 8, in Brisbane, Australia, they covered the Bee Gees in Staying Alive. And not that great of a song until you hear Bruce Springsteen sing it.
Does a great version of Purple Rain too.
Oh yeah. But he has Tom Morello play guitar on it. he comes out. I mean, you listen to that song and you feel the pain of the main character.
Yep.
It's really a great cover. Number 7, Pete Seeger cover. "Oh Mary, Don't You Weep."
That's interesting.
His version of it is so.
Wait, and I missed the B-sides.
Yeah, you're right. Pete Seeger's the
That's
nobody.
that's a deep one.
Yeah,
because I have a bunch of lists here that did not make it on any of them.
Wow,
Yeah.
really? It's
Yes.
Give it a listen, man. You sit down and listen to it, and you can feel. Bruce Springsteen has that thing with his voice, man. He makes you feel whatever the main character in the song's feeling.
Absolutely,
And
just like Sinatra did.
yeah, he has maybe it's New Jersey.
Could be.
Number 6, "Better Days." It's a good song, solid song. Every time I hear it, I get emotionally involved in it. Number 5, again off the Born in the USA, "Bobby Jean."
Oh God, let me tell you, that could be one of the best songs he's ever written.
I agree, man. I had a Bobby Jean in high school.
Jeff, if you want to just log off and go take a nap, me and Mark got this.
You don't have this because Bobby Jean.
This is the epitome of.
I changed the name. No longer is it Wendy. Now it's going to be Bobby Jean.
This podcast today is the epitome of 3 comics who worked the night before who are all fucking exhausted today.
Jeff's the one who gets cranky when he doesn't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
I'm laying up. It's like 4:15. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm listening to Stoic podcasts.
I was driving across the George Washington Bridge, I think, at 4:15.
Oh God.
Was there still traffic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. I crossed it twice last night.
So I like Bobby Jean because to me it was a song. I have a friend who was a Bobby Jean. We both graduated high school, never spoke again. We were best friends. She's not even on social media. So it's like I have no idea what the hell she's doing with her life. And meanwhile, I spent all this time with her with a friendship. So that song has a lot of deep meaning to it from me.
I feel you.
Number 4, "The Rising." The whole.
Oh, it's a great song. That's a great song. I had that on my one of my lists too.
Yeah, "The Rising" to me, it was I was living in Union City. I was commuting into the city every day. I was in school.
Wait, where did you live in Union City?
Palisades Avenue.
That's where I grew up. I grew up on 2401 Palisade Avenue in Union City.
No shit.
Yep. It's first 17 years of my life.
I was there 2002. No, 2001 to 2003.
That's great, man.
And it was that album was the album I listened to every single day on an old-fashioned Walkman as I went through the Helix on the 123 bus.
Yep.
And listening to The Rising, and sad enough, looking at Ground Zero every morning when I got up because it overlooked there. So that whole album has a deep, deep meaning to me because it was that period of time. Number 3, "Born to Run." Gotta put it on there. I know it's like there's a reason it was his huge breakout song, and I absolutely adore that song. Number 2, "If I Should Fall Behind."
Oh, that's a good one. That's a real good one.
I love
like
that song. I actually danced with my wife at our wedding to it. So it's another one.
This is like a fucking Twilight Zone episode for me right now already, and we haven't even gotten to Jeff because we know he's in fucking outer space. My best friend's wedding song was "If I Should Fall Behind" with his wife too.
It's such a great song.
It is a great one.
I mean, it's very vulnerable song, and it allows somebody to be so open about how they feel about someone. I love it. Great song. And number 1, which is probably going to be the one that makes you guys all upset and pissed, "Youngstown."
You have to fucking pick that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, from there, it's every time you hear the song, I feel like I get a flashback to everything I grew up to.
I got to tell you, Mark, your list did not disappoint.
No, it's very good.
Yeah, it's not cliche. It's not, it's not predictable. I thought that was a great list.
Thank you,
And
man.
yeah, oh no, great job, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you,
Jeff,
guys.
you're up next.
Okay, so I'm gonna also do a qualifier like Riccadonna. I'm gonna throw in two honorable mentions.
Okay.
Okay. One honorable mention is it's hard to be a saint in the city.
Nice.
This was like impossible to leave off my top 10, but I
That's
mean,
good.
I was really going back and forth with this. And the other one was actually I have two, man. And there's two more I have. One was Waiting on a Sunny Day, which is more of like a
Love
more
that song.
modern one, which is great live.
Mhm.
And
If
I
you
also
don't
like
bob your head to that song, you're dead inside.
Oh yeah, 100%.
exactly, and I also like the anger and like the emotion in Murder Incorporated.
Ooh.
Those are going, but I'll start my top 10 this way. I'm going to start with number 10, 92. Has the same name of the album, which was Lucky Town. Remember, he came out with Human Touch and Lucky
Yep.
Town on the same
Yeah.
day. I like the mixture of rock and folk in this. Even stripped down acoustically, this is a great song. And I think that's the telltale sign of a great song, when you don't need the whole back end, it's just, and you can just hear it acoustically. I love Lucky Town. Great song. He performed it on Saturday Night Live as well.
That's right. I
Yeah.
remember.
I do. Number 9. You talk about most of my top 10 are going to come basically from two albums, and this is one of them. It comes from the River, which I think is one of the best albums of any genre at any time, and it's going to be number 9 is Point Blank.
Wow, that's a really good song.
It's a great song, and what makes it great is the E Street Band, the Professor, Roy Bittan, that haunting piano. It's just so beautiful. And when you hear that music and you hear about the disappointment of the working class, which is what the album is basically based on, and the song is about how you're born dying, it's a really poignant song. I love it. I could not leave this off. I was kind of going between this and Hard to Be a Saint in the City. This song, I think the music, Roy Bittan's piano playing, he has a style that just really stands out. Like you can hear him when he plays on other people's music. That's Roy Bittan. Number 8, little corny, little cliche, but one of the first songs that hooked me into Springsteen was Hungry Heart, also from the
Great song though.
From the River. It is. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but this was originally a song that was written for the Ramones. Joey Ramone.
Wow.
Asked Bruce to write a song for him, and I think it was just so good, and the record company liked it so much that he decided to keep it. They speeded up his voice on this a little bit, and it came across as a poppy song. So this was one of his like high, to his point in his career, it was his highest chart single. Number 7, also Off the River. So this is 3 River songs in a row. Out in the Street. It's a staple, great live song. It's really a mixture of the darkness of the album and the upbeat in the music. And I think Clarence really takes over this with a fantastic sax solo.
Did you ever see Adam Sandler do it on MTV when he did that?
He did Out in the Street.
Yeah, he had this like concert, like right when his albums were like really big, like They're Going to Laugh at You. He had those 2 monster records in a row. They did like an MTV concert, and at the very end, he busts out in the street, him playing guitar and singing it. Really cool.
We should, after we do our list, we should talk about our favorite Bruce Springsteen parodies, because that was like its own genre of comedy for a while.
It could be. So let me think. I got a couple more here. Number 6. I always loved the song off of Born to Run, the song Night. It has a similar feel. Yeah, it has a similar feel to Born to Run. It's that feel. The song's about like what Springsteen wrote about in his early years. Working during the day, man, and drag racing at night. Now, these days, drag racing would be dressing up as a girl and running down the street. But back then, drag racing.
You're getting us canceled.
It's what it is. I'm not saying anything derogatory.
RuPaul has its own show of
drag racing, right? So yeah, so
apparently
it's about
I look like I could be on it.
Yeah, it's about racing cars. Okay. And this has that big wall of sound, like style to it, like it from the very beginning, the sax, Max on the drums, like a big bombastic sound. It's a great, great song. And it's sung like, again, it reminds me a lot of Born to Run, which I did not put on this list. Number 5, off of the first song off of his debut album, For You. I think it is a great song. It's a song about a woman's suicide, but it's a song that kind of builds. And I think people really know the cover version of it more that was done by the Manfred Mann Earth Band. If you guys remember, they covered that. Greg Kihn covered this song too and put it on his Best Of album. But just the beginning, you could hear the difference in production in Greetings from Asbury Park compared to an album like Born in the USA. Okay, it's it is very, very raw and also very, very beautiful. Great song and how it kind of builds. Number 4, a song that has never been on a regular recording, regular studio album. Because the Night. Patti Smith, 10,000 Maniacs had bigger chart topping hits with the song. But again, a song that was originally written for Darkness on the Edge of Town, and somehow it gets into Patti Smith's hands, and she does a fantastic version of it.
I actually prefer 10,000 Maniacs version of that song.
Do you?
I think that's one of the best covers that's ever been done.
It is a great cover, but I mean, I've never heard a bad version of this song. And Bruce's version on it, and you can find it on 2 different live albums. You can find it on the big, 3 CD box set, and then there's another live album you can find it on. Really, really good. Okay, we go to my top 3. Number 3, off of Darkness on the Edge of Town, The Promised Land. I don't know how you leave that off. He's the idea of the Promised Land was derived from a poem called Ulysses. I don't know if you're familiar with it. What's his name also did something with this, Chuck Berry, and he wrote a song similar called Promised Land. And what he was talking about was making a journey from Middle America to California. Bruce is really talking about.
Didn't Elvis cover that version?
No, that's a different song called.
That's a different.
Yeah,
okay.
Which is brilliant. I don't know. I've never heard a cover of this. But what Bruce is talking about here, and Darkness, remember, was an album that he had to wait a couple of years to make because he was going through legal problems. So he's talking, with a lawyer. But it's about the belief in something without lack of evidence, or with lack of evidence. And just readjusting dreams. It's a song that always kind of like stuck with me. I love it. Okay, first top 2, I could flip-flop them. I think you have all these other songs I listed, and these songs just stand apart. Is there a more beautiful, more storytelling song than The River? Okay, the title song in 1980. It starts off with that haunting harmonica. It's such a heartland song. I mean, you can be from New Jersey, you could be from Youngtowns, Ohio, or you can be from South Dakota. The opening line, I come down from the valley. Oh my God, man. And it tells the story of just like readjusting your dream and how life kind of like really, the reality of life takes over. The part about getting married and the judge put it all to rest. Oh my God, man.
Got a union card for his wedding.
Yeah, it just rips your heart out. Being idealistic when you were young, and then reality just hits you in the face. Holy shit! I mean, lyrically, I
Yeah.
don't know if there's a better song. And then the song that always did it for me, I loved it as a kid. It never gets boring for me, is Prove It All Night off of Darkness on Darkness on the Edge of Town. It's a song kind of like, it's optimistic. Again, the players really stand out in here. Roy Bittan, the sax solo with Clarence, how it melds into a great guitar lead by Bruce. And then when you hear it live, the back and forth vocals between Little Steven and Bruce, that yeah, is so cool and really gets it. And also, if you can go on YouTube, and there's a version from 1978 when he's playing in Phoenix, and the interlude is really, really pretty. But I believe Patti Smith may have taken that interlude and turned it into the song Frederick, which is also a very underrated, great Patti Smith song. But it's just there's so many different versions of this song. None of them are bad. They're all off the charts, fantastic. This was an incredibly hard thing to do. Come up, I thought the Metallica one was hard. I thought this was harder.
Yeah.
This
is what happens, Mark. Just so you've done the show before. Jeff, I give a lot of credit to, because Jeff does all the research. He does tons of research whenever he's asking questions. I basically just show up and save the show every week. So
not all heroes wear capes. We're learning that.
It's very true. So I love these lists that we do. We do these lists probably every 2 months or so. And they, we don't have a lot of crossover. I had 42 songs, which I narrowed down to 35 songs, which I narrowed down to 23 songs. Now, the reason I wanted both of you to go on first is I could not get it down to 10. I narrowed it down to 22 songs. So now I have the best list for Springsteen, and I have my personal favorite for Springsteen, and there's not one song repeated on this.
From the both of us?
Well, no, there's a couple that are repeating, more with Mark than with you. But I'm saying on my list, the best in mine, there's no crossover at all. So I'm not saying the same song twice.
And I was tearing myself apart doing the list, because I'm like, well, I mean, personally favorite songs, or like
I couldn't do
great song to listen to. Like,
yeah.
I was driving, it drove me insane, because
it's like, so true, man. That's why
I love music for memory.
Oh, like, yeah, I have a lot of memories on here, and that's why I love what both of you said.
Well, I think Mark also captured it perfectly when he said this was the Sophie choice of lists.
Yeah,
to leave something off, like
it was hard.
When you brought up a couple songs, I'm like, I can't believe I didn't. I should have really had that one on. I felt, and it actually hurt my feelings that I didn't have a song on the list. All right, I can't wait to hear your show.
I'm going to start with an honorable mention on the best list. I'm going to do the best list first. There's best songs, and then I'll do my top 10. The honorable mention is a fairly new song. It's "Land of Hope and Dreams."
Great song.
Oh, yeah.
Great song.
The reason I put that on is that I read him in an interview, Bruce saying it's probably one of his favorite songs he's ever done. And now it's his official opener every single night. He's opening with that song. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to see him twice, once next month, once in September. I paid a fucking mortgage payment for both of those concerts. And I'm going to be very high and very alert.
List is great.
They're fucking out of this world. So that's my honorable mention. Number 10. I thought Mark would have put this on here. It's a song from the soundtrack from The Wrestler, and it's called The Wrestler.
Oh, dude, that just missed the.
Great movie. Obviously, I love wrestling, so that's part of the reason that I like it so much. I think Mickey Rourke's performance in that was one of the best performances in the last 25 years, and he got robbed of the Oscar for that movie.
That's a great movie. Todd Barry has a great role in that movie.
There's so many great people. Drew Friedlander. Yeah, there's a ton of people that we know in those. But that was because the Harvey Milk movie with Sean Penn came out, and he won Best Actor for that movie.
He was great in that.
And Sean Penn actually said in his acceptance, "I did not deserve this. Mickey Rourke deserved this Oscar."
Wow.
So that was a really cool. The song is great. It's very slow and broody. I love it.
Yeah.
Really, you're a big wrestling fan, you Mook. You got a giant belt hanging behind you.
Do you know why I have that giant belt? Because on my
Because
30th
you're the
birthday, my
WWE
friends thought I was the
champion.
heavyweight champion of the world, and they bought it for me. Exactly. Number 9, I put The Rising.
Yes.
The
Yeah, that's a good
Rising.
one.
Because I think it came out at a really difficult time in the country. It came out right after 9/11. And that whole album is basically a 9/11 album.
Yeah.
I think it's one of his better albums, and it's not an E Street Band album. It's a solo record too, which I tend to like a little more sometimes, which is a little strange to say.
You like the E Street more or solo more?
I like his solo stuff more.
Okay.
Which is kind of different, but anyway.
I think it's okay to like the solo stuff.
Did any of you guys ever notice that? And nobody's brought it up yet, but Nils Lofgren looks exactly like Paul Mercurio.
No. Who would bring that up?
I mean, as a comic, I think that's something that I have to bring up. That Paul Mercurio.
We have a comic from Ohio. They just had a fucking train derailment in Ohio, and he just tried to fucking derail this whole podcast by bringing up Paul Mercurio. That's fucking great.
I think Patty Scaffalo looks more like Kathy Griffin.
I went to a Bruce Springsteen concert with Paul Mercurio, and I couldn't believe I was watching him on stage.
That's fucking great. Number 8, it was mentioned already. I think this is the best song on the Born in the USA record. I also went with No Surrender.
Yeah,
I think it's a solid song, and that could go on any other album. That's why I like that song. That can go on The River. That can go on Darkness. That's an old feeling song. A lot of songs on this list, I'm surprised nobody brought up. Number 7, I'm going with 10th Avenue Freeze Out.
That was on my subsidiary list.
That was I was
again not my favorite. It's not my favorite, but I've seen Bruce about 12 times already, and I just see how the crowd reacts to it. And that's one of the things that's one of the reasons I put it on.
I literally didn't have that on my list because it was one of the songs that I put on there that I love to listen to, but I didn't have a huge personal connection to the song.
Gotcha.
So I was like, I got to put on something that means something like personal to me. Where 10th Avenue Freeze Out's just a song I love to listen to.
Yeah, definitely. I go number 6. I go Darkness on the Edge of Town. I go the title track. It's just a dark, brooding, fucking amazing song. I love seeing it live. Number 5, I put Hungry Heart as well. I think that's a very, very good song. Again, but these are not my favorites. Okay, I'm just going strictly factual and going by all the shows that I've seen in the history.
That has like a Christmas feel to it, doesn't it?
A little bit. Yeah, I can hear that, like a holiday song. Sure.
Yeah, because you hear kind of like those bells.
Yeah,
those chimes.
And also,
I love that Mark knew exactly what I was doing. That I let that fart just fucking lay there.
Why is it a fart? It did. It has that Christmas feel with chimes. When that song comes on, like I can hear this song in December, although it was a big summer song in summer of '81.
I remember as a little kid hearing that song and going, "This is such a happy song." And then when I got older and realized the lyrics, I'm like, "Wow, not a happy song."
Because it's upbeat and they speed it up a little bit.
True.
Which is so funny because the rest of the album isn't like that.
It's true. Number 4, I go with Rosalita.
Also was on my list, man. That was on my other list.
Not my favorite song in the least bit, but I see how the crowd goes wild for it, so I have to put it on there. Number 3, I put Born to Run. Now, you have to put Born to Run on this list because it's the quintessential Bruce song, if you want to call it that. I have this argument, and I think Mark will agree with me. Jeff will not agree with me on this at all. I do this once a year. I do it for the last 15 years. I go on Facebook and I start an argument, and I go, "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi.
Okay,
is the biggest New Jersey song. It is the biggest it is a bigger New Jersey song than Born to Run is. When you think of New Jersey and you say, if I had to pick one of two songs, and you live in fucking Montana, will you pick Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, or will you pick Living on a Prayer, knowing that both of these bands are
much like New Jersey, there's two New Jerseys.
True. True.
So,
by the way, Sean, Adam agrees with you.
Well, because Adam's a smart individual. That's why.
The big hairspray, Jersey Girl, that is that Jersey, and that's the Living on a Prayer. But then the rest of Jersey, where it's like, you're on Route 1 and there's some mechanic who's has cars flying by him, but he doesn't have a big enough parking lot to actually work on cars. That's the Born to Run New Jersey.
Yeah.
So are you a Shore or are you Route 1?
Do you think it's also generational?
I think it is generational, but I also think that I think it's a big part of it, actually, Jeff, when you think about it, because there's a lot of people my age and Mark's age, if you think about it, are more 80s hair metal generation.
Yeah, Adam chimes in. He says, the MTV generation is going to be more towards, I think, Born, was
Living on a Prayer.
Living on a Prayer.
Yeah.
Where I think when you get like
more.
the older folks are probably going to be more Born to Run, more traditional.
Sure, I agree with that, but it's just my opinion. I think Living on a Prayer is the bigger New Jersey song, but Born to Run is a classic. Number 2, I hate this fucking song. I will go on record and say I actually hate
I know what song it is.
Yes, you do. Thunder Road. I fucking hate Thunder Road. I've never liked it. I saw a version with him and Melissa Etheridge doing it. I love Melissa Etheridge. Is one of my top 10 of all time. I despise the song. I never liked it. It was never on my playlist, but the people love it. So that's why I put it on there. And number 1, I am disappointed in both of you for not making this your number 1 song, because this is not only the best Springsteen song, this is one of the greatest things that's ever been recorded on fucking record.
This better not be what I hope it is.
Jungle Land.
No.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good song.
Musically, lyrically, it is an absolutely perfect song from the first second to the last second.
It's Bruce Springsteen's Band on the Run.
That's a great
analogy. It's a great analogy, great comparison. And I love it. One of the reasons I love it, every single artist on that record stands out. Everybody has a great little piece in that song. So it's not like
they get their moment.
Yeah, it's not like just a Clarence sax solo. It's not just, fucking Max doing a fill, whatever. Everybody has their time to shine on this. It's a brilliant, brilliant song. That was my best list. My top 10 of my favorites is very different. I have two honorable mentions. The first one is a version of a song that he did with the Dropkick Murphys called Peg of My Heart. Now, I love the Dropkick Murphys. They're a great band. He's also a big fan of them too. He's done a lot of appearances with them, but it's a really upbeat Irish song that he sings on it with him.
Dropkick Murphys. Every time I hear that dumb name, I keep thinking deep, 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 deep. That one song that's always in The Departure.
Oh yeah.
First of all, it's called The Departed, you fucking mongoloid. Number 1, and number 2, that's their worst song by far.
I never heard of the Dropkick Murphys,
and then
I was at a punk rock thing, and it was like Rancid, Me First, and the Gimme Gimmes, and all these, and it was out on not Roosevelt Island. What's the island? Governor's Island.
Governor's Island, right? Yeah, the concerts out there.
There was like 30 bands playing, and they were all on different stages and whatever. And when the Dropkick Murphys started playing, these flags got hoisted in the air. And they were like, they had Boston flags and they're waving it. And I'm like, there's about to be a riot. And the whole island shut down. Everybody just ran to that stage and watched them play. And I was just like, holy shit.
One of the greatest concerts I ever went to, I saw Dropkick in Boston on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, Jesus.
4:00 in the afternoon show at the Boston University Hockey Arena.
Not one sober person.
Not at all. At 4:00, there was nobody sober. So the show's over at 7:00, and then what they do is they go over to the House of Blues. They have an local Irish boxing league in Boston. So can you just imagine what these fucking people look like? They all work on the docks. They're all dock workers. They're all forklift drivers, and they go to the House of Blues, and they have this Irish boxing ring, the fucking matches, whatever. After the show, Dropkick goes into the ring and plays an acoustic set after this whole night. It was just an amazing experience.
I like the Dropkick Murphys.
Last night. I left Boston last night. I did a corporate gig, and you just described the audience there, and they were corporate people.
Yeah, it's a weird fucking city. Like, I'm a Celtics fan, so like it's hard for me to like. Yeah, it's hard because like I'm a Yankee fan. You don't want to go near
hate
Boston.
every Boston team. I hate them.
Nah, I can't.
They
Now,
rank
my other honorable mention. It was big because I was there. It's a Jersey band, and Adam will appreciate this too because Adam loves this band too. I saw Bruce come on stage and do a couple songs with the Gaslight Anthem. Bruce has gone on record
in this band.
Yes,
you bring
Bruce
him up
has gone on record
podcast.
and said, and he has gone on record and said, I have passed the torch to Brian Fallon. You know, I passed the torch to Brian Fallon. Brian makes no bones about it that Bruce is his hero.
Was it at Asbury Convention Hall?
Yes, it was at the Asbury Convention Hall where I saw him do American Slang with a Gaslight Anthem. But there's also an amazing version of the 59 sound. They do, I think, in London or one of those places where Bruce comes on and you just see Brian Fallon almost in tears playing the song with him. It was just a great moment to watch. So number 10. I put this on here for a reason. I was at a concert at Giant Stadium at the time, I believe. It was when the Rising album came out. It was number 10 is Mary's Place.
Oh, yeah.
I put this on here because I had one of those surreal concert moments during the song. There's the build up to the chorus is where he goes, let it rain, let it rain. 30 seconds before that happens, the fucking skies open up. Like, and it is downpouring. And I'm covered, so I'm good. But as he sees the skies opening up, he just keeps going and saying, let it rain for about 2.5 minutes. And the place goes fucking bananas.
That would infuriate me.
Well, of course, because God forbid you ever had fucking fun. Anyway. So, yeah, it was just one of those moments where they
just come on, man. You could have gotten to another song at this point.
I almost had that on my list, and it goes a personal reason. My mother-in-law's named Mary. I picked up my niece to drive her because we were going to a party at my in-laws' house, and I was playing that song, and it was all about, we're going to have a party, meet me at Mary's place. And my niece was like, did they write this song about Mom?
That's great. That's great. Number 9, I put a song from Tunnel of Love, and I actually scratched it all. I had Dropkick in there, but I changed it last minute. I put Brilliant Disguise in there. I think that's Tunnel of Love is an underrated album. I think it was right after Born in the USA. Everybody expected this monster record, and he puts out his this solo record. But it's a great song.
It's funny you bring that up because the gig I was at in Boston, I was in the green room and I brought up, I'm putting together this Bruce Springsteen top 10 song list, and I'm racking my brain. I have 1,000 pieces of paper in front of me with all, I should have been going over my set list, but I'm trying to break down the Springsteen song. And the guy who, the promoter, he sat down with me. He's a huge Bruce fan, and almost 75% of his picks were from Tunnel of Love.
Do you remember the video for that song? It was because it was just him looking into the camera, singing the song.
No, I'm gonna have to look it on YouTube.
Oh,
Sean's muted.
Oh, well, that's good for the show. That Sean is muted. Yes. But yeah.
I had to take a phone call real quick.
Okay, he's back.
So number 8, and reason I love this song too, it comes from a really shitty movie. It's a shit movie, but this was during the days where the MTV Unplugged was ginormous, right? This blows up. And so he doesn't do Unplugged, he does live in concert. And the song that I picked was Light of Day.
Good, yeah, with Joan Jett.
Joan Jett movie's atrocious.
Yeah.
You got old fucking shaky hands Michael J. Fox before he got fucking sick trying to play a guitar and stuff. I hated the movie. It's atrocious. But like that version that he does on that live show is just fucking off the charts. And I didn't realize that he had written the song for Light of Day because I was young at that time. I didn't realize that he had written that song for that movie. But his version by far blows Joan Jett's away. Number 7, I think this was your number 1, Jeff. I put Prove It All Night.
Oh, good for you, man. It's my number 1. Love it.
It makes me, for me, it's one of his best songs. I think it's one of his best all around songs. And that's hard to say with somebody who has 300 songs or whatever. Number 6, I put on here because no one really talked about this album a lot. And put Atlantic City from
Ooh, that's a
Nebraska.
great storytelling
It's a
song,
great
man.
storyteller. It's a love song. That whole album was a big
I
fuck
think
you
the
to
album
record
drags a
company
little bit. That's why I didn't pick anything from it.
because it's a fuck you album. It's not his best album. It's like the record company wanted this monster over the top, sequel to The River, and he's like, well, fuck you. I'm taking a 4-track and I'm going to my living room and I'm recording it. And then here's my record. Like that's the biggest fuck you can possibly do to a record company, Now it gets different. Now it gets a little different. Okay, number 5, I put. I don't know that you always tend to go towards the older shit with Springsteen. I like a lot of his newer stuff. I put a song called "My Lucky Day," which is from his "Working on a Dream" record. If you listen to this song, I don't know if you've heard it or not. This is a old school Bruce song, but he did it in the late 2000s. So it has that like that rockin' kind of the river vibe a little bit, but I personally love it. It's kind of like it's a fast-paced love song if you really break it down like that. Number 4, Jeff, you mentioned this again, and I hate that I have to agree with you. This is what I consider a happy song. And I've talked about this before on the podcast. Sometimes these songs are ridiculous and they're horrible songs, but they make you happy when you hear it. Like, oh my God, my best friend's got fucking AIDS. Oh, this is horrible. Put this song on, you forget about your friend with AIDS. Like that's the kind of song that you go back to. And I picked Out in the Street. It's just one of those songs that no matter what kind of mood I'm in, if I'm in a bad fucking mood,
Great live song.
100%. If I'm in a bad mood, I have a playlist that's called Sean's Bad Mood Playlist. This is no joke. It's got like 7 songs and that's on it. So it breaks me out of a bad mood every single time. Number 3, Mark, you mentioned this as well. I put Glory Days on my list. And the reason why I put Glory Days, there's a story to it. I get my musical influences from my mother and my uncle. My uncle was her brother. He had given me my copy of Born in the USA. So I listened to Born in the USA. I love it. I'm obsessed. I love Dancing in the Dark. I was 8 years old, So Glory Days comes out and there's this big commotion. And my mom's working at an eye doctor in Hoboken and she's a block and a half away from Maxwell's. Now they're about to film the video for Glory Days at Maxwell's while my mom is working. She shuts down the office. She drags my 8-year-old fat little ass down to the music video shoot. They would not let me in because they're filming a video in a fucking bar and you can't have an 8-year-old kid in the bar. But I was outside Maxwell's in 1985 while they were shooting the video and I was desperately trying to get in and I couldn't. But every time I watch that, I can still see myself as this fat little 8-9-year-old standing outside trying to get in. And it does bring now when you're 46 or 80 like Jeff, you do look back and you think about the Glory Days. And I always think like, he has a friend who was a big baseball player in high school. I thought about my friend who was the baseball player in high school. And then you see like, the old scallywag who was the hot chick at the bar, in high school. Now she's at the bar. It's a great word.
Thank you, Civil
War. And then
War
Sean got to run out
actor.
to the pitcher's mound at the end of the video.
Wait, Mark, Sean never ran at all. Let's just get that out of the fucking way.
Do you remember in Glory Days? You remember who makes a guest appearance in that video?
Julianne Phillips. He was married to her at the time. Right. Yeah. All right, number 2. It was my favorite Bruce Springsteen song forever.
And do you remember who the kid was?
No.
Sean Morton.
No, it was Corey Feldman.
No.
Really?
Fucking idiot. This is why I can't stand him. Mark, can you commit to Sundays at 1:00?
I can do it.
Okay. This was my favorite Bruce song for a very long time. Very, very long time. And it just got bumped out of number 1. It's from the Lucky Town record. It's called Better Days.
I had
Better
it
Days
on
is a great song.
Better Days, again, puts out 2 solo albums.
That was my number 6.
Time. Yeah, it was. I think they were. I don't know if they were the same day or if they were a couple.
It was the same day.
It was, right? It was like Guns N' Roses. Okay.
Yes.
He puts out these 2 solo records, both very different. I mean, one's more upbeat, one's more a little mellower. This to me is an amazing love song that's not a slow ballad. And I just the lyrics of it are just fucking off the charts. Now, number 1 is my favorite Bruce Springsteen.
I'm right now freaking out trying to figure out what it is.
You don't know it. Now, the reason I put this at number one, I heard it the first time. Jeff, you can make fun of me all you want. I was hysterical crying. Like ugly cry, like bad cry. You listen to the words of this song. Now, the reason why I am so drawn to this song, like I said, my uncle got me into Bruce. My uncle was my best friend in the whole world. He was like my dad. He was my brother, my best friend, my godfather, everything. And he got taken away very, very early.
Okay, now I can't make a joke about it.
No, you can't at all. It's died at 49.
Gonna call him a pussy. Now I can't do it.
You
All
can't.
right,
No. So like he died at 49. Like I'm 46. So I'm like, holy shit. Like I got 3 years to beat him. You know what I mean? Like that's so like I always thought about
in
him.
3 years, Mark, you're the co-host on this show. Go on.
He wrote this song about Danny Federici and Clarence dying.
Mm.
So it's called Ghosts.
I knew you were gonna pick this song.
It's
You've been talking about this for a while.
Jeff, I'm telling you, I haven't had a song affect me in a long, long, long time like this song did. So when I hear the lyrics about how, that you're gone, but I'm alive and I'm out here on my own. Like, I go to another level too. Like I have a band and my best friend in the entire world is my guitar player. Like I can't imagine losing him. Because like he's one of those people, like I'm sure you guys have friends. Jeff, you are not this friend for me. I want you to understand this. You're a good friend, but you are not this friend.
So
like,
if something
full
happens to me, you'll be upset, but not that upset.
No, I would be upset. Like, look, if you
How long
died
would-
like on a Tuesday, right?
I would see Sean doing this.
Are you still doing the show on Sunday?
No, I'd bump it up to Wednesday. Like, because I don't want to do this on Sunday. But no, so like there's a connection. Like when you're in a band, you have a different kind of connection with your friends and your bandmates and things like that. Me and him can bounce ideas back and forth to each other. And we've written some amazing songs. We've had some garbage, but it's that camaraderie. And I could never. I mean, some people jump from band to band to band. I've never done that. I've had.
Why don't you write a theme song for this show, stupid?
I could do that. All right.
And I just gave me an epiphany.
You really
I
did.
love it.
So there is that connection to the song. There's the connection with my uncle to the song. I watched the making of the album, which was mind blowing to begin with. And I think that this is the best song he's written in 25 years, easily.
Wow.
I think it's better than anything he's put out in the 2000s.
Going back to listen to it.
You have to watch the video too. Yeah. The video is great. I don't have the connection of like my
wait, Adam threw a good one in there.
I'll See You in My Dreams is a great song. Now, the reason I love this last album that he did, I don't know if you heard it, it's called Letters to You. It's a great record. It's one of his more solid records, top to bottom. There's 3 songs on that record that he wrote in 1971 and 1972, and he never recorded. So you're going 40 fucking years that you wrote a song, and you're saying to yourself, you know what? I think I wrote this song 40 years ago. It's time to put it on record. And they're great songs. And they sound fresh, like he wrote them in 2022, but he wrote them in 72, 73. So Ghost is without question my favorite Bruce song.
One of your favorites. He's
playing it as his second song on the set list at the show that I'm going to. So I will be going live with that song. And
he'll be ugly crying.
No, I've gotten past it. Like it was like the first, I think it was like the first like 180, 185 times I heard it. I would bawl my eyes out.
Dude, just picture him. He'll be at the Springsteen concert, be with his wife, a whole bunch of people. His big baby Huey will sit there crying during the song.
Oh, I will.
You're gonna cry because it's gonna be live, and that.
Well, I'm gonna cry for a couple reasons because I have amazing seats for the first show that I'm going to see. I have like front row seats in the upper level, so I'm not gonna have any mongoloids standing in front of me.
That's big.
Spilling beer on me. And then when I go in the summertime, it's going to be outdoors, and I'm taking my mom with me too. So my mom's going to come see Springsteen.
That's going to be a good time. So listen,
these were. I'm happy with all of our lists. To be honest,
this is good. But before we wrap it up, let me throw a couple of lists that the listeners sent in. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Dave Neidel, who's a big listener of the show, loves our
too. By the way,
yes, he does hate me. Loves our top 10 list. He chimed in with. I'll just put it in the order they sent it to me. Born to Run, Hungry Heart, Thunder Road, The River, Dancing in the Dark. None of us put this one on. Badlands. Yeah, Rosalita, 10th Avenue Freeze Out. I'm on Fire, which I cannot not hear that song and not think of Paul Bond. And Santa Claus
I'm
is
so
coming
sorry.
to town.
Yeah, it's not a name you ever want to hear.
Yeah, I hate that one. Okay. Here's another one. Vinnie Guerreri. Born to Run, The Rising, Racing in the Street,
Oh,
Promised Land, Badlands. I'm surprised you didn't put this one on your list. Ghost of Tom Joad.
Hate it.
I love that song.
Yeah,
I love the
that's not bad.
album.
And what's the name? Rage does a great version of it. The River, Nebraska, Thunder Road, Jungle Land. Tom Borowski, who is I know he is a huge Springsteen fan. So his list is a little deeper than the other two.
Well, the funny thing was, is as you're naming the list, I kind of get who that person is as a personality. Like, oh, this guy's like a stadium rocker. Like he's probably going to the concert and doing. The other guy was a little more folksy.
You know
It's
what?
like,
I think you're right on that. So, what? How would you pay out this guy? Okay. And by the way, he's called The Radio Show before. Brilliant Disguise, Human Touch, Waiting on a Sunny Day, I'm on Fire, Cover Me, 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Born to Run, Dancing in the Dark, Badlands, Thunder Road.
that guy's definitely a romantic who doesn't want to admit it.
And he bought the Essential Bruce Springsteen hit CD fucking list at a gas station in fucking Delaware, and that's what he played.
Okay. Sean Pistiglione chimes in with Thunder Road, Atlantic City, No Surrender, The Rising, Racing in the Street, Jungle Land, Rosalita, Land of Hope and Dreams, One Step Up, and Born to Run. You guys familiar
That
with
guy
One
is a
Step
guy
Up?
who owns a convertible and loves driving on the coast, blasting music.
One Step Up is an amazing, amazing song. Like that's one of those ones that you could put on repeat when you get to Youngstown, Ohio, and then you're driving through Cleveland, then you drive through Columbus, and you drive through Cincinnati, and you can play that song the whole way through.
Blasted, just top down.
Sean, one of your friends chimed in, Johnny Benson,
Okay.
and
Gotta
he
be.
put out, this is his top 10. I'll go in reverse order. 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Badlands, Thunder Road, Hungry Heart, Prove It All Night, Out in the Streets. Here's one we haven't heard yet. Jersey Girl.
Ugh.
No one has brought that up. Dancing in the Dark, and these two, Trapped and The Wrestler.
Oh.
Well, Johnny's a wrestling fan, so that's why he put The Wrestler on there. I put it like at the number 10. I knew right away he's a fucking mark. He would have put it at number 1 because he lives and breathes that shit.
Okay. Another past guest on the show, Chris Murphy, chimes in with 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Rosalita, Cadillac Ranch. This is something that just made, the first time we've seen that in here. Santa Claus has come to town. I don't get that. Jersey Girl, Prove It All Night, Badlands, Thunder Road, Promised Land, Born to Run. Here we go. Jeff Mann.
I mean, it really isn't Christmas until you hear Bruce going, Santa Claus is coming.
I hate it.
I hate that. For me, it's Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. Fucking Christmas does not start for me until I hear that song.
That's a great one.
Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens. How do you put that in a fucking Christmas song?
It's in a Christmas song.
Oh.
Okay. Jeff Mano put a couple that we haven't spoke about yet. Streets of Philadelphia. You guys like that song?
Nah.
No?
I mean, I'm
it was really good for the movie.
Yeah.
The movie's
It
great.
was great for the soundtrack. It's not a song that if it was just on the album, I'd probably like.
It's a
One
throwaway.
It's not very uplifting.
No, it's
Yeah.
a throwaway song, and it only got popular because Tom Hanks died of AIDS, like Mark will.
Yeah.
What else?
Born to Run, Thunder Road, The River, 10th Avenue Freeze Out, No Surrender. How about this one? Secret Garden.
Oh, I in high school I liked that song.
Okay.
If I Should Fall Behind, that's a great one.
That's
Dancing in the Dark. And did anyone mention My Hometown?
No.
it's a good one though.
I didn't. Like, again, I'm going to go on record and say Born in the USA is a goddamn great record. And it gets a lot of shit because it had some poppy MTV hits, but it is a top to bottom great record. There ain't a bad song on there.
Yeah. I can't believe Bruce isn't from Youngstown. Because all of
Well,
his songs, it's like you're just describing you're just
from
talking about East Palestine right now.
from just outside Philadelphia, Roy Mackey sends in Streets of Philadelphia. Here's one that, do you guys know this? Burning Train?
Yeah, great song.
Yeah, that hasn't been brought up. Youngstown, Thunder Road, my hometown. I'm on fire. The River, Tougher Than the Rest. That's the first time we've seen that on a list.
Good one.
Badlands and Atlantic City as well.
Wow.
And I want to get to one more
You
because this
took
guy,
Atlantic City out of that. I would say that guy was from the Midwest. There's a very Midwest.
Yeah, that's like hey, let's download the Essentials Apple Music playlist of Bruce Springsteen, and these are going to pop up on there.
I love his covers. I love him covering songs because I feel like he's one of those singers like a Townes Van Zandt, not the prettiest voice,
Right.
not necessarily hitting the notes, but you feel everything he's talking about.
One of my favorite stories about Bruce is that when Max was filling it, had to do that, I guess it was the Letterman or whatever, and his son Jay filled in on drums. Now Jay is now the drummer for Slipknot, which I don't know if you knew that or not. So Jay gets handed a book, and like they're going on tour, I think on a Sunday, and it's like the Monday before, and Max hands him this big book, and he goes, "Dad, what's this?" He goes, "Well, these are the songs you got to learn." He goes, "Dad, there's 270 songs in this book." He goes, "Yep." They could play any of them any time on the tour. And this kid had to learn 200. I mean, I'm sure he knew most of them from being the freaking drummer's son, but 270 songs he had to learn.
that's got to be really hard still.
Right?
Yeah, so this guy I thought had a very interesting list. This is sent in to us by Joe Dibbs. And he puts in no particular order, though. Thunder Road, Working on the Highway. We haven't heard
That's
that
a
on
great
the
one.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that song.
yeah, Tunnel of Love, Better Days, Blinded by the Light. No one brought that up.
Good one,
Again,
but
that's a good cover by Manfred Mann. Growing Up. No one brought that up. It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City. That was one I almost put on my list. I think this is a great one. She's the One.
Oh, that fucking intro to that.
Yeah, it's quintessential Springsteen. Badlands, Out in the Street, Reason to Believe. Cover Me, I'm Going Down. That's a great one. And I'll see you in my dreams.
I think all of the fan submitted lists, Badlands can suck a dick. Like, I'm not a fan.
You don't like
No, I'm not a fan of Badlands. Like, I'm not. It's like a Thunder Road to me. Like, if I'm at the show, that's my pee break.
But it's a standout on the triple live album.
Yeah,
It
I
really
understand. But
is.
doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's good.
To
There's
me,
some
it's one of
songs
those
that
songs.
resonate with you.
I love it, but I'm not putting it on a playlist.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
never
it's
making it.
on, I'm not going to go, come on, turn this off. I'm going to.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I might give it like a minute and a half, and then I'll hit next. Jump to the next one, but yeah, it's never going on the top club.
Here's one that didn't make any list. We didn't even bring it up. How about Sherry Darling? Do you like that? Guys like that one?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not his greatest. It's not as great. Like, I'm not one of those people who say that like, oh, everything that Bruce has ever written or recorded is like amazing. Look, the Devils and Dust album has one song on it that is remotely decent. The rest is garbage. It's one of the worst records ever put out.
Yeah. I bought the box set, the box set of all of his like covers or whatever that came
Tracks?
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, I listened to it all once, and then it was like, that was about all I needed. And then I clipped the ones I liked and put them on a playlist. But I never have to revisit the whole box.
Right. It's one of those things you play once, and like you have to have it because you have everything in the collection, and you play it once, and then it just sits there and collects dust.
Yeah, like Pink Cadillac's a fun song, but I needed to know it. I don't need to have it.
Right.
Like, I don't need to play it every day.
Like, he's doing something that Pearl Jam did back in the 90s on this tour, that if you want your physical copy of the show that you just saw, 10 minutes later, you go downstairs and you can buy the digital copy of the show you were just at.
I remember Kiss was doing that like 20 years ago. And
Yeah,
of course they are.
Pearl Jam was doing it too, yeah.
Or you can just go on YouTube and get it for free.
Look,
Well,
I've,
with
I've spent
Kiss, all you have
thousands
to
on
do
these
is
tickets.
get
I
on
could
a
spend
live
20
now.
more on the fucking live version of the song. Not like I'm gonna not bootleg this show. My phone is gonna have an external battery charging on the back of it. I'm videotaping this entire 2 shows that I'm going to, because let me tell you something. I had to make decisions about what bills I wanted to pay in order to pay for these fucking tickets. Okay. So I'm getting my money's worth out of these shows.
I just put in a ticket request. My friend is Springsteen's road manager, and I just put in a request to see, if you can get me some tickets, then I'll go. Otherwise, I mean, I used to work on the tours, and one with the E Street Band, one when he did the solo records. So I mean, I've seen Springsteen. I can't begin to tell you how many times, and it's never a bad show.
I never had a bad show.
And this is a great set list. That I don't. Did you see it, Mark?
Yeah.
It's a solid.
It looks
I
really,
loved
really
when
good.
I think one of the last shows I went to is when he did the tour, when he had Born to Run, Darkness, and Born in the USA, and he was flip-flopping every night. He was doing the full record from top to bottom. And I went with my friend Anthony, and he was like, "Oh, I'll take Born to Run or Darkness. If he does Born in the USA, I'm gonna be fucking pissed." And sure enough, he did Born in the USA.
That would have been me.
And I was ecstatic because, again, it was my first record. It's still my favorite record. And and we were on the floor, so we were really close too. And I got to see it from top to bottom. And then, of course, he does a 2.5-hour greatest hits set after that. But I'm glad he's kind of not doing that on this round. He's doing some of the stuff from the new record. He's doing the greatest hits, and hopefully he will drop out Thunder Road on the set list when I go, because he drops it out for the Promised Land.
I don't think you can go wrong with either song. No one mentioned. Remember? Did you guys were either one of you fans of Western Stars?
It's a good one. The movie I think was
like
better than the record, because he had the whole. He does. I'll tell you what, though, I would almost have this on my honorable mention. He does a great version of one of my top 5 favorite songs ever, "Rhinestone Cowboy" by Glenn Campbell.
That's one of your top 5 songs ever.
It's another happy song. It just makes me smile. It makes me smile. And then
does it take you to a place? That has to take you to a place.
No, it does. You know why? Because
little Sean in his shorts, you just want to pinch his legs.
No, I always loved the song growing up. And then one of my best friends in the world, my friend Donna, who was my host for years until she stopped doing comedy like a little bitch. But and that's her favorite song of all time. So like we didn't realize like we both had one of the same favorite songs. So that's kind of like why I love Bruce's version of that.
It was like 2004 or 5. Springsteen was playing in the Meadowlands, and I worked at Stand Up New York, and the GM, who I think you guys met, Big Gay Nick. He had the fire engine red hair, gigantic, flamboyant gay.
No,
man.
but I got short, annoying Jeff. So continue.
Well, Big Gay. And so the bartender, me and Paul Mercurio were all talking about buying tickets.
How did Paul Mercurio keep
fucking episode today?
We've been doing this show for almost 3 years. His name has never come up.
This is the story of why I brought him up earlier. So we're all talking about getting Springsteen tickets. We're all excited. I'm making fun of them that aren't you going to be on stage playing with the band? And so we're all going to get tickets. Big Gay Nick goes, I don't understand you boys. You straight boys. You love your Bruce Springsteen. You love your Bruce Springsteen. And Mercurio said to him, Nick, I'll buy your ticket. We'll all go out to the concert. If you do not have the best time, you don't have to pay for the ticket. But if you enjoy it, you can pay me back. We were at song 3, and Nick is like shoveling money at Paul. Like, this was the greatest concert. I'm having so much fun. We're like, buckle in. You got 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like the man's going to play for a while.
But there's no letdown. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I've never seen a bad show. Never seen a bad. This might be my 13th and 14th show. I've never seen a bad show.
Wow. Oh, man. I wanted to show you that my wife will probably kill me for showing how filthy my office is, but I have to. My record's on the wall.
Oh, look at that!
Very cool.
I love that. What do you got there? You go back to the albums. Let's see. We got the Doors and two Springsteen albums and Clash, and of course, Dark Side of the Moon. That's probably the best album ever made.
Don't leave out Lionel Richie.
No, that's a great. You know, he's touring with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, we are so going to that show, by the way.
I
I love me some. You're going to see my fat little ass dancing in September in that goddamn show. I'll tell you that.
I've seen them so many times.
I never have live. Never seen either one, so I want to go see that show.
You'll enjoy them. They're good, man. Their version of Fantasy. It's Phil Bailey's son sings in the band now too.
Oh, awesome!
And he's
nice.
he's great. He's really good.
Lover.
He sang Easy Lover with Stephen, who was it? Phil Collins. Yeah.
Collins. This is a good episode.
Before we wrap this up, where do you guys rate Springsteen on the all-time list?
100% he's in my top 10.
Top 10.
He's probably in my top 7.
For me, he's top 5, but I think as far as all around music, he's got to be a top 10.
Easy.
I mean, you got your Beatles, you got your Stones, you got Springsteen, Elton John, Billy Joel. I mean, he's definitely in the top 10.
Springsteen's in the right wheelhouse for me because probably all the people on my list are all singer-songwriters and not necessarily bands.
Okay.
I love bands, but like I have a deeper respect for the singer-songwriters.
I see that. So
he's definitely in my wheelhouse to be, but I bet he would probably be at 5, 6, or 7, somewhere in that range.
Who are you putting ahead of him?
Definitely Townes Van Zandt.
Wow.
Willie Nelson. Elvis, which he's not really a singer or a songwriter, but he's a spectacle.
He's a crooner.
He's a spectacle.
Crooner.
And I guess I'd really have to. And then it's probably Springsteen, Johnny Cash, and I'm not even a huge country fan. If you look at my music, it's more.
Yeah, you couldn't tell from that list.
Yeah, I'd seem like a country fan, but if you look at my albums and shit, if we go through those drawers over there, it's almost all hard rock and metal.
Yeah, we're diverse, and Jeff's the same way too. I mean, Jeff's kind of diverse, but you got to be. When you pigeonhole yourself with music, you're just doing yourself a disservice.
We just want music to be good. It doesn't make a difference to us. Like I love Garth Brooks. I could listen, but I also love Pet Shop Boys, and Maiden is probably my favorite band.
Did you hear Maiden announced? Did you hear it with Steve Harris?
Yeah, but then Dickinson came out and said that's not true, and that they'll probably die on stage.
Well, I was last night on the drive home. I'm with Richie Byrne, and we started talking about hard rock.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
And I said to him, I go, "Is this weird? Love Iron Maiden, love Black Sabbath, love Rob Halford. Was never really a big Motorhead fan. How does that happen to me?"
I'm the same way, Mark. I'm the exact same way. You name 3 of my probably top 10 metal band or
me
hard
with
rock
an Ace
band.
of Spades tattoo because I love Motorhead fucking so much.
I mean, I should love Motorhead, but for some reason it went over me, and I just like.
I was late. I was late to the game with them.
I think much like Joy Division, it's probably better marketing than it is a band. Would you say that's true?
No, not at all. Motorhead is to this day the loudest concert I ever went to. I think
does that make it better though?
No, I still have hearing loss from that show. He was a very underrated songwriter, Lemmy, and some of Ozzy's best songs he ever recorded, Lemmy wrote. Wow. You know, so that's one. Yeah, he wrote "Mama, I'm Coming Home." He wrote "See You on the Other Side."
Lemmy is the Townes Van Zandt of hard rock.
Let me tell you, he's a very underrated songwriter because he has this.
In other people's hands, they can make hits.
Yeah, I mean, he had this big mystique about him for being like 6'5" with a big hat and the big bass and the monster mole and all that shit. But solid band, man. They were a real solid band. They weren't heavy metal. They weren't hard rock. They weren't fucking hair metal. They were just Motorhead.
Yeah. Also, one of the nicest, most accessible rock stars you're ever going to meet.
Never met him. Stalked him at the Rainbow many a time, but never met him.
I was working a show and I got a chance to meet him, and they were the opening act. It was Motorhead, Ugly Kid Joe was the middle band, and Ozzy closed it out.
Ugly Kid
Wow.
Joe, my opinion, is one of the top 10 most underrated bands in hard
You
rock.
always say that, man.
I
I'm
interviewed-
driving out to fucking the middle of Pennsylvania next month on my one night off of comedy, 230 miles to go see Ugly Kid Joe
Wow.
in concert. I'm going to fucking Chambersburg, Pennsylvania
Wow.
to go see
You are
them.
going.
I'm going far. I'm going deep.
What were you going to say,
Yeah.
Mark? Did you have an Ugly Kid Joe story?
No, but I interviewed Rob Halford when I used to work in an Atlantic City radio station, and I asked him, if you could go back in time and play in any other band, what band would you want to play? And talent means nothing. Like, I want to be the drummer of whatever, but I don't play the drums. That doesn't matter. You get the go.
Great
And
question.
he picked Pink Floyd. He said Pink Floyd's probably the greatest band, that nobody sounds like them. They're the most original sound.
He's right. Pink
And
Floyd.
I was always a Pink Floyd fan, but after that interview, I went back and re-listened to all of Pink Floyd, and I'm blown away. There is no other band that sounds like them. And they're the only band I've ever played and could see the music. Like, you can see it.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Richie Byrne. That's his. I think it's his favorite band. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's not his favorite band, then it's Dark Side. It's his
Something.
favorite album. I think either that or Wish You Were Here, which are two. If you talk about two albums that ever came out back to back, those are probably the two best albums that, you know, including the Beatles. I mean, when you're talking about how it changed music and musically and lyrically, but what kind of gets lost was the third album between Wish You Were Here and The Wall, which was Animals. And basically,
my favorite record of theirs.
Yeah, it's very, very Orwellian, and he's talking about how the sheep are the people, how the dogs are the capitalists, and how the pigs are the politicians.
Can you stop with the big words?
What big word did I use?
You're a fucking feature from Staten Island with fucking
What
Orwellian.
big words am I using?
Orwellian. Shut the fuck up. Really?
Oh,
Stop. I read a
again,
book once. I read a book.
because I was a big fan of 1984 and Animal Farm. Okay, and that these two, especially Animal Farm, resonated with Roger Waters. I mean, come on, man. There's nothing big about that. Oh, again, maybe you don't read books, or maybe but I love this stuff, and I loved how deep Roger Waters is. And when you look at like Roger Waters, Lennon and McCarthy, like the depth of the songs that they wrote before they were 30, when you compare it to shit today, doesn't hold a candle.
I don't know. I think Wet Leg is better than fucking Dark Side.
Fuck Wet Leg, Chase Lounge. Okay, Jesus Christ, you know the adjectives that are thrown around for this fucking average.
It's not even average. Mark, please check out this band Wet Leg. Now we torture.
Don't check them out. Don't waste your time. Adam swears by this. Adam, you should come on here and defend Wet Leg right now.
Adam is not just the producer of this podcast. Adam is actually a friend of mine. I will say he's a friend, as Jeff is a dear friend of mine too. I made it, I think it was 22 or 23 seconds into this song. And I was like, I'm going to fire this fucking guy. I don't want to ever have any association with him ever again.
But Adam knows his music.
He
can back it up. I don't, but I sometimes, Adam, can you please come on here?
Yeah. It's it's a fun album. It's
not a fun album.
It's horrible.
It's so beyond less than mediocre. Wet Leg. Do you do this just to kind of like to be the contrarian guy? Like, listen, man, no one's gonna get it, but I really love Scritti Politti. They're much better than Pink Floyd.
Scritti Politti.
Like, here's how bad I hate this record. Okay, this is gonna be very dark. I found my grandmother dead 2 days after Christmas, 1988. I was 12 years old. If you told me that I had to relive that every day or listen to Wet Leg's album front to back again, I'd get in the time machine and fucking see her dead body every fucking day of my life.
Here we go, Gran.
Listen, I know you can't hear me, Grandma, but trust me, the alternative is no fucking better. You trust me, you're doing much better here, laying here, than listening to this shit. I think that's how we end the fucking show.
Let me tell you something.
We got dark.
I have
set
been
up
looking
camp.
forward to this episode all
Me
week,
too.
and
Me
I
too.
gotta say, it did not disappoint.
It never does.
This
when Mark
was great.
Riccadonna's on the show.
Fucking Mark Riccadonna comes and brings it. Hits a grand slam. Thank you so much for coming
I
on.
need to
Thank
Mark.
be
you
better
guys for
friends
having
with
me.
Mark Riccadonna. Is what
Yes,
comes
let's
out of
hang out.
this.
Really, man.
Now that I don't live in New York City, I can actually hang out with people.
I know. I
Yeah.
like this.
one of the best guys, not only in comedy, just one of the
100%.
best fucking dudes, man. He's what a good
100%.
dude. Love Mark Riccadonna. Mark,
Yeah.
great list. Sean, great list. Listeners, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
big time.
sending
Thank
in
you.
those lists. Those were very, very interesting. Great stuff. And we got a good guest coming up next week as well. We're gonna have Chris Roach. You know
Oh,
Chris
no
Roach?
shit. Oh, thanks for telling me. And tell the fucking audience first. Don't tell the co-host. Oh, I hate this motherfucker so much. Anyway,
Yes, so tune in for that and keep subscribing, and if you have lists, send them in. We would love to hear them. All right, Mark, where can people find you? What you got coming up?
Just any on social media. It's Mark Riccadonna. I'm the only one. Easy to find.
you're goddamn right you are, because they broke the mold and they made you.
Follow him. He does a nice show with Gemini and Justin Gonzalez, and they call themselves the Laugh Pack. And I got to go see one of their shows about a week ago over at Parks Casino, and those guys knock it out of the park. So if you ever see those shows on sale, do yourself a favor, go check it out. I'm not just saying it; it's really good stuff.
Thank
Yeah.
you, man.
Mark is a great comic, and Gemini is a ventriloquist. So
And Justin's an opera singer. So
is it really?
Yeah,
He's
it's
great.
a variety show, old school variety. And we usually have.
I love that.
Yeah, good stuff. Sean, anything cool coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be past, once this airs and stuff, but I'm very happy. First time in about 10 years, I'm back at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick next week. It took me a long time to get back in there, and let's hope I don't fuck it up.
You won't fuck up. You'll be.
I
great.
might. I very well might. But
Well, hopefully, and if we get this out soon enough, this weekend coming up, I'll be at Rhino Comedy in Suffern, New York.
okay.
Levity Live on Saturday night, the 18th. You can catch me headlining at Church of Satire in March and April. And I also got Hawley, Pennsylvania, the Crazy Country Club.
It's a nice area. You'll
Yeah.
dig that. You'll dig that.
So just go, just go on all our social medias, follow us, and come out to a show, guys. Anyway, Mark, thanks again. Sean, I'll talk to you during the week. Adam, I'll see you on Wednesday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.